The name Kwon, like I said, I was in high school, and so like I didn't really think much about that. And now recently, what I do, just looking at me, I don't belong here. I don't like belong.
이런 이야기를 한 번쯤 들어보신 적이 있으실 겁니다. 미국으로 이민을 가 정착한 한국인 아이들, 그러니까 한국계 미국인 2, 3세대들이 한국인이라는 걸 부끄러워한다는 사연 말이죠. 10년 전만 해도 이런 일은 비일비재했습니다. 이 때문에 자녀에게 한국어를 일부러 가르치지 않는 가정도 많았죠. 그러나 최근은 다르다고 합니다. 미국 사회에서 한국계라는 사실을 당당히 밝힐 뿐만 아니라 역으로 한국인이 되고 싶어서 국적 취득까지 고민하는 미국인들도 늘어나고 있다고 하는데요. 영상으로 함께 만나보시죠.
Foreigners who venerate Korean culture so much that some even move here. I meet one of them in the fashionable district of Hongdae to find out why these fans would upend their whole lives for Korea.
The first time for me, like a Midwest, country bum,
right.
Like I walked into one of these stores and just like, where do I even start,
This is Carl, also known as Kwon Min-gyu. He moved here 6 years ago, and one of the first things he learned was when in Korea, you've got to groom as the Koreans do.
Before, I'd barely wash my face, I wouldn't put moisturizer on, and now, there are times I'll spend 2 hours at night doing a skin routine. I'm like, this is not where I would have seen myself, as a high schooler in Wisconsin, Minnesota.
So what triggered your interest in Korean culture and language?
It was K-pop for me, actually.
Yeah.
And there was a period where I wanted to be an idol in Korea, and so that's when I started, learning Korean. I actually came to Korea and I just wanted to stay in Korea.
그래서 그 한국말로 조금 자기 소개를 해도 돼요?
자기소개요? 네. 안녕하세요. 전 한국외국어대학교 일본학과 17학번 권민규라고 합니다. 반갑습니다.
Wow. Did you just hear that? I've been living my whole life trying to learn Korean. That's amazing.
The latest census reveals there are over 2.5 million foreign residents in South Korea, the most this country has ever seen. As for how many actually came here to make their Hallyu dreams come true, no one really knows, but I'd guess it's a lot.
So you mentioned earlier this term Korea booze. Would you consider yourself one?
A Korea boo, broadly speaking, it's somebody who has a lot of interest in Korean culture, but I think these days it's become more of a derogatory term for foreigners in general who have this kind of weird fantasy about Korea. There was probably a time where I would be considered a Korea boo, but now I'm just like, I don't know, I don't think I'm a Korea boo now, but...
What changed?
I just kind of grew up, I think. Once you come here and then you experience the culture, you start to see it as a real place as opposed to like this image on a screen. I do have a question though, like you're a Korean American, right?
Yeah.
So when you see someone like me, like I come to Korea and then like I'm clearly just entirely white and then I start using a Korean name, is there kind of like a, like?
I mean, there is definitely that moment where it's like, it's weird because, part of me is like very protective of the Korean culture just because it's something that I was so used to being ashamed of when I was growing up. So I think there's definitely a sense of like, I mean, you guys made fun of me for so long about this. Why do you suddenly get to decide that it's cool, right? But then on the other hand, it's like finally there's this moment where the tides have changed and who has the right and who has ownership over these things anyway. I don't feel like I can claim ownership over what Korea is and what Korean means because I only have the right to define my relationship to Korea and no one else's.
Right. When I first started using the name Kwon, like I said, I was in high school, and so like I didn't really think much about that. And now recently, I've been really thinking about like my relationship to Korea. I've basically spent my entire adult life in Korea. But at the same time, no matter what I do, just looking at me, I don't belong here. I don't like belong here.
Do you think there's ever a possibility that in the future you will feel fully embraced by the Korean people?
Possibly. I don't know. Koreans really love it when foreigners are interested in their culture and when they're interested in their language and stuff, so.
And actually making the effort.
Yeah.
Right. Should we check out one of those photo booths?
Yeah, it sounds like fun.
Are you comfortable enough with Korean to
Oh,
speak
yeah.
Korean?
Yeah.
Oh. When I was about to meet Carl, I was immediately suspicious. I can't help it.
There you go.
Part of me wants to protect Korean culture because for so long, I felt like everybody was making fun of my Asianness. But I realized even if there is that kind of nefarious side to a Korea boo and their superficial attraction to Korea, there can be a genuine interest in Korean culture. And it makes me feel proud as well, you know, to see that people are starting to be interested in Korea for Korea itself.
To understand how this new soft power has changed the country, I meet with Dr. Lee Ji-young, a professor of media philosophy who's spent the last decade studying the Hallyu.
So like right now, does Korea's soft power translate into political power?
Yeah, maybe. 정치적이라는 말이 그 현실 정치인들이 하는 것만이 정치적인 게 아니고 사실은 그것 자체가 지금 세상이 이전처럼 늘 미국, 백인, 남성, 영어 사용하는 사람이 중심이 되고 나머지는 다 부수적이고 주변적인 인물로 이렇게 계층화되었었던 이 전 세계 질서가 제가 이런 이제 방탄이 막 성공하면서 이걸 보면서 느끼는 게 어쩌면 이 억압적인 구조 자체를 우리가 무너뜨릴 수도 있겠다. 니네만이 정상이고 니네만이 표준이 아니다 라는 걸 방탄소년단과 그다음에 그들의 팬들이 계속해서 보여주고 있거든요.
And how has that impacted Korean society?
그 상처나고 빼앗겼던 자존감을 좀 많이 되찾는 과정이 아닐까라고 생각이 들어요. 제가 생각했을 때는 그 일본 식민지에서 이제 해방된 이후로 그러니까 20세기 중반 이후로 어떻게 보면 한국인들에게 그 열등감 같은 것들이 좀 존재하지 않았나. 물론 그렇기 때문에 막 BTS가 미국에서 엄청나다 막 얘기를 해도 사람들이 안 믿어요, 처음에. 에이, 진짜?
설마.
아, 설마? 언론에서 막 뻥치게 하는 거 아니야? 그런 것들에서 이제 서서히 벗어나게 되지 않았을까. 그리고 우리가 하는 것에 대한 좀 자신감을 갖게 돼서 앞으로는 더 좋아지지 않을까라고 생각을 하고.
Of course, of course.
오늘 영상 어떻게 보셨나요? 여러분도 잘 아시다시피 한류의 역사는 BTS 훨씬 이전부터 시작됐습니다. 단순히 2, 3년 만에 거둬들인 성과가 아니었죠. 드라마나 영화를 중심으로 아시아를 점령한 한류는 K-팝이라는 보다 쉬운 매개체를 통해 미국과 유럽, 남미까지 진출했습니다. 그리고 이제는 한국의 위상을 드높이고 있죠? 한류의 영향력은 물론 한류가 대한민국 내부에 끼친 영향에 대해 조망한 영상 재밌게 보셨다면 구독과 좋아요 부탁드리겠습니다. 감사합니다.